Hello dear polymer clay enthusiast, I'm Mihaela from Learn Polymer Clay, and in today's tutorial I want to inspire you to make a beautiful and modern looking pair of earrings with a faux enamel twist. To put together this for the summer inspired look, so I have previously properly conditioned the polymer clay and then I passed it through the setting number 3 of my Atlas pastel machine. And then I'm going to use a spiraling texture plate to make a spiraling pattern on top of the clay. And then I'm going to use round cutters, and I have adjusted the size of the colors of the cutters to the metal components that I'm going to use. And of course you'll just have to press on the cutters and then also make a rotary motion. And of course you'll have to smooth off the edges. And then I use the blade to cut the piece in half, but then I'm going to position one piece on top of the other and trim off more clay, doing my best to have two pieces that are similar in size. And of course I'm going to do the same thing for the second piece. So first I'm cutting the piece in half and then I'm repositioning, but I'm not pressing on the clay because I want to be able to easily lift this piece that I put on top. I'm not using gloves, but you could, of course, and anyway you should be very careful when pressing on the clay not to leave fingerprints. And then I took the pieces cut out from the first circle, from the first round piece of polymer clay, and I put one on top of the metal element that I received from bbcraft.com, and I put the other half on the back. You might need to smooth off the edges. And then for the pieces that I'm going to apply in the upper part of the piece, I decided to trim a little bit the pieces, and I wanted to have a gap in between these two half moon pieces so that the metal element would be visible. And because I'm not wearing gloves, I'm using baby wipes to and I'm wrapping my fingers in baby wipes, and thus I can use my fingers to press on the clay. And it is very important, when you like the way the pieces sit on the metal element, you should press them, connect them well, and press them into the base. And normally I use gloves to do so. I noticed that in some areas my design is not so visible, so I just used a dotting tool and made a spiraling pattern on those areas. Use your tools to smooth off the edges. And then I used a round Kemper cutter to make a roundish hollow element, negative space in the middle of the piece, of the focal piece. And again I'm using the dotting tool to make a pattern in the areas where my pattern is not so visible. And I intend to make 3 small flowers, 3D flowers, that I want to press into the base in the bottom of the focal piece. And again I have prepared a piece of polymer clay, a sheet of polymer clay passed through the setting number 3 of my Atlas Pass machine. And this time I am using a flower shaped cutter, a small flower shaped cutter, to cut a flower pattern. You will just have to smooth off the edges. And then I'm going to use the round ball tool, and so I place the flower in the middle of the palm, and then using the round ball tool I'm extending, I'm pressing on this element very gently and also in the center, and I'm making the clay thinner, and I'm also giving this flower a 3D effect. And then you'll just have to use a dotting tool and press the resulting flower into the base. And then you just have to roll tiny balls of polymer clay that I am going to place in the center of the flower, and add more dimension to these floral elements. And I'm going to make 3 such decorations in the middle of each flower. Then you'll just have to bake your pieces for 40 minutes in the preheated oven. I bake my pieces on parchment paper because I'm making the front and the back of the piece in the same session. Then you'll have to let the clay cool down, and we are ready for the best part of the process, meaning playing with Pebeo paints, which is always great creative activity. So I decided to apply antique pink in the upper part of the pieces. But before applying the paint, I took the time to mix the paint very well, because normally when these paints sit on the shelf, they tend to dissociate, so you need to mix very well the mica and the color. And then you can use a brush and apply the Pebeo paint on top of the piece. So I've used antique pink for the upper part of the focal piece, and then I applied Caribbean blue on the bottom of the piece and also on the flowers. And of course I mixed well the blue color before applying it on top of the polymer clay. I noticed that I had some color drippings, so I had to move the pieces around a little bit. After letting this paint sit for a few minutes, you can lift off the pieces and use baby wipes and clean the back of the pieces if necessary. And as you can see in the upper part, and you will get the interesting honeycomb effect more visible in that part. But I have to tell you that I also like the result that I had with the Caribbean blue Pebeo paint that I applied on the textured clay, baked clay of course, and it has a very beautiful faux enamel effect. I particularly like this look. And then I decided to add a little bit of antique pink on top of the flowers as well. You'll have to let the paint dry, and it dries to touch in 4 hours, but it completely dries in up to 72 hours. And then in order to assemble this beautiful center of these beautiful focal pieces into earrings, I decided to attach a gold colored jump ring that would match the gold metal element, and a second one to attach the beautiful ear wires that are gold plated. Here is my inspiration for watching the tutorial, and stay tuned for more